Welcome to the Big Ideas Show and welcome to the hot seat, Chris Smith.
Hello, thank you for having me.
It's great to have you here. Chris Smith from The Chambers Bar and Coffee Shop.
Yep.
And we're here today, aren't we, to talk about 20 years of feeding folks and senses.
It's a long time. That's what we're here for.
It is. And that's an amazing achievement. And we're going to be talking about that longevity in folks and in business.
Yeah.
We'll be back after this. Chris,
Hiya.
thank you for joining me.
My pleasure.
And I have to say from the start that you're here because lots of people said they wanted to hear from you.
Yeah, now there's a thing. You think they'd be sick of seeing me, but I'm very flattered. Thank you, all of you.
Yeah, it was. I like sometimes not always choosing the people because I had you in mind anyway.
Okay.
But it's nice to put it out to people, and I said, "Who are discussions around leadership? Or this month is leadership."
Okay.
And I put out there saying, "Who is a leader in the community that you inspire?" Brackets. Can be in any context, not just business or whatever the stereotypical
No, for sure,
might be.
okay.
And you came up a few times.
Well, that's very nice to hear. Surprising too, but nice. Thank
Well,
you.
we're going to hear a little bit more about what that means to you, why you think they said you.
Mm-hmm.
But before we do that, we're going to do quick-fire questions.
Sure thing.
Okay. First question. First animal that comes to mind when I say leader.
Right. Wombat.
Okay.
More so because I love the word wombat. It's fantastic.
Nice.
Yeah, just makes me grin, and it's the sort of thing you can use in 100 different contexts, and it always gets a smile. So a big part of being an effective leader is having people on your side and making them smile really helps.
Oh, okay, nice. Good one. That definitely justifies the
Wombat.
random wombat. Okay, most important quality in a leader?
Respect.
Nice. First leader in history that comes to mind?
Caesar, Julius Caesar.
Yes. Most inspiring leader you've personally had lead you?
Miss Patricia Donald, who was my first secondary school teacher. I met her on the first day over at St Edmund's Catholic School in Dover.
Yeah.
And I was a terrible, terrible student, awful. And I feel sorry for many of my teachers that had me over the time I was there. More fun than study, I'm afraid. But particularly Pat Donald, amazing teacher.
Oh, awesome. That's really cool. Okay, what would your Braveheart war cry be? I thought of something for you, but...
Savaloy! I think. I don't know. Never been that picture. Would I have to be painted blue as well?
Yes.
I could live with that. Savaloy. Definitely Savaloy.
Okay, awesome. I was going to say, to the bar!
To the bar.
Or another
yeah.
round.
Oh, God, I missed out there, didn't I?
No, Savaloy's good. We'll go.
Savaloy's with T-shirts, yeah. Okay.
Okay, lead from the front or lead from the back?
Well, we're a team at Chambers. There's myself and Liz. And between the two of us, we make that work. She leads from the front. I like to lead from the back.
Yeah.
It works really well. We've been doing it for a long time now, and up and down days because we're human, and we spend a lot of time together working in a very front-facing business, and so we have to have it as right as we can, as often as we can, which to us has to be all the time.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think between the way we work, our two styles, and I prefer to lead from the back. I like that. I like that. I like to see things done. I don't want to be it sounds stupid in the business I'm in, but I'm not one for being the face at the front all the time. Mm-hmm. Although people are always used to seeing me, and they're not used to seeing her, which is the real contradiction of what I've just said, but it is the case.
Yeah.
Liz, she'll get things done, she micromanages extremely well. I have this glib naivety about it'll be fine. And I think because I adopt that in my head, it will be fine. And very rarely do we fall on our knees with events that we do, or how we put processes through, or people we work with. It seems to go okay. So yeah, I'm one of those real leaders, I think.
Awesome. Okay. And final, two more questions. Biggest leadership challenge?
Keeping everybody happy. I think it's an almost impossible task, and you're asking for a fanciful year if you can get through it, and everything has gone okay. you do have disappointments. You know, you get people that don't deliver what they promise they will. You have a feeling that things are going to be great with some of the staff you take on, and it really shines. And then, because as I'm personally not one of these people who are just pushing all the time, I expect people to use their own skills. If they come in, they're bringing something to the show, then let's see it.
Yeah.
Impress me, make me go, that has got my complete confidence. I can now go and do that because I know that you're going to shine doing this. And we've had some fantastic folk. We've had people that have worked with us for 14 years, 11 years. It's not unusual for people to come back to us as well, which is not a soft option. It's good. People leave, they realise what they've enjoyed working at Chambers. The parts of it that have satisfied their creativity. It's a social environment as well, and everybody likes to meet and chat to people. And those that don't, they can sit quietly on the bench seats at the side, sort of thing. But we like the fact that people come back to us. It's quite a warming factor.
Nice.
So, keeping people happy.
Yeah, nice. And a final question: best feeling as a leader?
When it all works. I have to choose events here, I think. We've put some pretty big things on in the time we've been here, and just when it all comes off and everybody gets why you did it, and it's not just about having an artist or a presentation of a particular idea or a concept. We've worked with you over the years on a few bits and bobs, and it's just great. We love the fact that our place can be so multifaceted. You come in one night and it looks like a gothic dungeon. You come in the next day and you have a fantastic burger and chips and it looks like nothing's happened. It's flexible, and we do vary with a lot of things that we do. So I think when things work, it makes me. That's the biggest reward, I would say.
Yeah.
It's not having an expensive car. It's not going on the best holidays. That is not why we do what we do. We feel we're very much part of what the town is and has. Yeah. And that's pretty rewarding.
Yeah, so. Definitely. You're leading beautifully into my next question.
Well, I never knew.
Beyond the quickfire questions, to kind of ask you a bit more about why you do what you do, because I think majority of people know you and what you do, and they know the Chambers, but because you've been going for so long and for 20 years, and just such like a cornerstone, like it's just you guys are there. It's just a given. Do they know kind of why? Whereas, when something new starts up, you go, oh, what's that about? But you guys have just been there. So why do you do it?
I like to be busy. And so the Chambers certainly helps keep us busy. But it is about... I love the town. I've lived in Folkestone my whole life. I was born in Royal Victoria Hospital. And... it means a lot to me personally, and I know to Liz too, and our family also, and the people that work for us, to be able to be putting things on for the town. I was going to present them for the town. We got to our 10th anniversary, and I remember having a conversation with Liz and some of the staff when we were having, our bit of a do, saying that at that point I couldn't imagine Folkestone without Chambers being there. And now we're approaching almost double that. In December the 5th, I think, this year, on 2018, will be our 20th anniversary. And we now have people coming in and people working for us that weren't even born when we first opened our doors in 98. And, we have generations of people coming through, and we have people that work for us that have met their future wives or husbands there and now have families. And we've been to a number of weddings and christenings because of the fact that Chambers is there. And that's spooky, almost. But it's a fantastic feeling of reward. It really is. It's not just about, taking money through a till, because even just running a bar, there's a number of ways that we could take a lot more money than we... by doing it in a different way, But then you would feel that you've cheapened your ethos about the whole thing. I like walking home at night, when I walk home at night, and I don't have a particular concern, because won't be sucking up to people, but we'll also give people a reasonable chance to understand that, you know, this is the way we do it here. There are different bars in every part of every town, and, you know, it caters for every demographic.
Yeah.
We like to throw our net quite wide. Excuse me, throw our net quite wide, and kind of expect people to get it as well. You know, if we're giving folk a nice presentation, if they like what they see, there's reasons for it. You know, it's not all psychological by any means, but it's quite nice when people walk in after, you know, being a bit of a cheeky chappy some days, and then just completely get what we're about. And there's no need for a front. There's just come and enjoy it. You know, we keep things clean, we present it nicely, we do our best. We like people to get that. Yeah. Without sounding too demanding, but we like it when people get that. I think that's probably the better way of putting
definitely.
it.
And I think what you've said about why you do it, kind of, we were talking before we turned on the cameras about branding, weren't we? And the general conversation and what people feel and about in the presence or in a certain space. And I think what you've said, certainly from my experience, is like, that's how I feel about it. It's just like, you're just part of it. Comfortable, and there's always that place, but also that space where ideas can happen and people can come together. And
absolutely.
So your why matches with this, what my personal experience of what I'd say the brand or the ethos of Chambers, as I've experienced it, is. So
we went to you say branding, we did look into franchising from the early years, because every business that opens up, and thank God there are lots of businesses opening up in Folkestone, it's been a long time coming, and it's fantastic to see. There was a time when people used to come into Folkestone, and I'd be standing outside chatting to them, and they say, well, where can we go? And at the time, the options for sending people anywhere were really, really rare. You know, the building we're sitting in now, comically, the street it's sat on was called Beirut for years. You know, it was, with all respect, but it was chaos down here. And now, any family can walk anywhere they want. And there's a necessary open-mindedness that's needed in any town, because virtually everywhere is multicultural now, and if anyone's getting, you know, defensive about that, they need to kind of snap out of it really and wake up a little bit, because some of the biggest cities are born and have come together because of multiculturalism. You know, they come from a dirty farm, all of a sudden it's blossomed into a huge city the world over, and that's just because of, you know, people coming in to add their bit to the cake. And this is where we are in Folkestone now, more so than any time than I can remember. It's a benefit. It's great. Don't you love it? You know, the fact that places are being opened every few months in Folkestone, and there's some huge investment coming to town, not just with Sir Roger and everything that's happening with the foundation and the harbour, but there are individuals that are laying a lot of money on the line to be part of what Folkestone's offering. And, you know, we're lucky enough to be there. It's great. I think if we were to open Chambers now, I don't know how we'd do. So we actually did that at the right time. We'd be a different offering in a funny part of the town now, but we were there at the right time, and again it was that glib naivety. I remember having the discussion with Liz saying, so what do you want it to be, a bar or a restaurant? And I said, I'm not too sure, but we'll open it up and it will all be okay. And thankfully it was okay. But we looked to franchise into, we tried Brighton, Dover, Deal, Canterbury, Maidstone, went as far as London, but trying to find another premises that had anything like the physical layout and the feel of the premises. So we opened up and called Chambers. It was just very rare. I think about closest to it was Albury's and Canterbury, and that's established, I believe, longer than we have, I think. So the premises is right for it, and we decided that we'd stay where we were. And it was a good thing, because the trade, you know, like this, it went through the roof, then, you know, into the bottoms, absolutely, really badly. Pubs closing everywhere, smoking ban, as you can imagine, for us in particular, was an interesting day. 1st of July 2007, awful day. But the smoking ban's the right thing to do, of course, but for us we had to really adapt. We changed from being what we were, and, you know, kind of future-proofed ourselves a little bit, concentrated a lot more on our food. The music's been a big thing, a very big thing. We've had some fantastic players from all over the world, and that really feeds a soul. It's great. Even if, you know, the place isn't absolutely packed, it doesn't matter. Sometimes it does matter. Sometimes you think, God, we know how are we going to pay this man's bill? But we always do. But that's a fantastic reward. Seeing, you know, I love music, everything about it. We have stuff, I can't think how many events really over the course of a year, and spoken word as well, and open mic nights. They're a big feature in what we do.
Yeah.
And it just makes you feel great.
Definitely.
When somebody leaves and they've just taken something away that's made their day better because of your little part in it. It's great, very nice. I like that.
Really cool, really cool. Okay, so I said at the beginning that kind of a lot of people had kind of put your name in as, speak to Chris.
Yeah. Funny.
I guess my question is, why do you think they did that, and what does it mean to you? What do you think it says about kind of helping you recognise the contribution that you have made and what your role was? I guess we'll talk about kind of to date, and then we can talk about what comes next.
Okay. Well, first, it's really flattering. It's really nice that the people thought, but put me forward for this. So it's a bit overwhelming, really. It's nice.
Oh.
But I think you hit the point earlier on. Mine's a face that people recognise for the good or bad of that, because we've been, front of house facing for so many years, and have seen a lot of people come and go. So, walking through town on a Saturday afternoon can be quite a lengthy process sometimes, getting from A to B. It is a little bit. But I'm a quiet fellow, really. I quite like my evenings at home alone and that sort of thing. But I suppose people, it's the familiarity. You could liken it to a pair of your favourite slippers, really. People like to see something that's consistent. If they spend time away from the town, they are thrilled to come back and walk in. And it's not because the place is there's like a set of jewels to look at. It's not. It's a huge basement that's really hard to maintain and upkeep, but it's rippling with soul. And people love that consistency. They love to come back to see something that they know makes them feel like they're home. So, that part of it, I think, is probably why people know me. They know the place. Yeah.
And the shirts help as well.
The shirts. I did mute it down a bit just to match your flowers, obviously. The shirts. They've become something of some myth, haven't they, over the years? It's funny because Liz and I work equally hard in the business, and we always have. But she says, nobody knows me, but everybody knows you. And she's probably right. It's turning around a little bit now because we're there a huge amount of the time. But that kind of makes me giggle a bit, because I can't say, no, they don't, because it's just the way it is. But, nighttime socials is more where I've been over the years, so people... It's less so now. People aren't jaunting out as much, which is going to be interesting for the next few years, which I'm sure is something we'll touch on in a minute. Yeah,
well, that was going to be my next question, was kind of, how do you see things have changed, and what do you see your role as part of the community, as a leader for the community going forward in these changes?
As a leader for the community. Well, I mentioned a few minutes ago that the number of times we've stood out on the crossroads trying to point people around to places to go. And in past years, that's been really hard to do. And I'm quoting someone saying this. They used to come to Folkes, and the only place to go was Chambers because there really wasn't much choice. Now, that could mean that they only came to us because there was nothing else, but I don't think it's quite that. They came to us because they liked it and they got treated fairly and such and such. But now you can stand on the same crossroads on Sandgate Road and Cherrington Place, and you can point to a dozen different places. In the last few years, my God, what is there? There's the Rum Clinic, Jam Jar just over the road has opened a matter of only a few weeks ago. You've got the Bouverie Tap, which is just a joy. Couldn't love the place anymore. Radnor Arms, absolutely astounding. Who thought that we'd see the Frenchman? And well done for them keeping the Frenchman sign as well. Love that. But Radnor Arms, just breathtaking. There's now Barbacus. There's Junction 13, which is new. These are only a matter of weeks old, and people are putting their investments and their dreams and their real passions and interest into opening things in Folkestone. And even a dozen years ago, you had to give the naysayers time because they still had a point, sort of thing. But now, anyone sits in a little forum room somewhere or just pokes their nose onto Facebook, which is a hugely double-edged sword, and starts making negative comments about folks, and it's just like, well, leave. Because how much choice do you want? The town is full of it. The food options, Shader, places like this, absolutely awesome. So, just wake up and appreciate it, because you're sitting on one of the best things ever.
Yeah, and that's something that's really nice to hear, because that as new bars open up, it's like that, and every time kind of heard, and with the music stuff, is always this, yes, we need more, and this bringing together, because I think it's very easy for people to go, oh, it's competition, isn't it? Whereas,
no.
like, every time I've ever heard you speak in that context, it's always been about, yes, more stuff, like, as a collective, we come together.
Completely. I've never, ever seen anyone as competition, and that isn't a smug comment at all, because they're helping the town that we're in. How could you get possessive and punchy about things like that? You know, it's just not the case. For goodness sake, embrace it, you know. A work colleague of mine, just, you know, his favourite phrase is, put your arms around the town. Couldn't agree more. Couldn't agree more. And I love to go to other places. Just don't get the time very often because of the trade we're in. And the other Space Bar, got to make mention of Space Bar, Andy and Sam, both good friends, and we used to see a fair bit of them with our previous events, and Andy was one of the former members of founding members of Scarborough when it first started up, and we used to see the team in there all the time, and we would always be, you know, spending some time with the Shortons. Lovely people, but of course they have space now, and so once in a blue moon, and it's a similar sort of situation with us. We don't get out very often to other places. When we do, we try to support where we can, but you've got to make the money flow around your town, you know, or the media hysteria about, you know, oh God, it's a terrible time, this awful depression, and I've seen it 3 or 4 times in the time we've been there, but it's just scaring people into making bad decisions, really. You know, don't sit at home. Come out and do something, you know, cheer yourself up for one, for getting out and, you know, the things aren't that bad. But the money go around, you've got to circulate it to make it happen.
That's, a really kind of interesting point, and just keeping things moving and keeping it flowing and supporting, I guess, rather than going, oh, it's about spending money. It's about, no, go out and support your local community.
Totally.
And a lot of the, like, speaking to the retailers and stuff, a lot of them said, shop local, because you're not just buying something great, you're supporting your community, so they're going to be able to put on more things, more events.
Well, it will have to be there, you know, if the town does explode like it promises to, though it won't just explode and be, you know, infinite, it will have a point where it has to stop. But it will go that way, and when it does, people like people in the trade I'm in, all the other retailers that you mentioned, they have to be there. There has to be this strong infrastructure, because no one's going to want to, you know, throw their dreams into a suitcase, sell up where they are, move to Folkestone, which is a great thing. You know, instead of sitting in Brixton in the smoke, you can. Well, Brixton's great now; it's not a good example, but you know, London has been in so many areas gentrified. That's an awful phrase, isn't it? And Folkestone could head that way as well, but I think it's too deep-rooted. It's got too much history. And people are scaring themselves a little bit unnecessarily, I think, about that. Yes, there will be parts of it that we pick up, and yes, there will be parts of it that will be out of reach for those that are in the town. But it's too strong. Its backbone is far, far too strong. It won't forget its roots completely. You know, the fishing community down here is not what it used to be, but for all intents and purposes, the only thing it's missing is the fish. Because the guys, all the families that are unique to the town, that have been here all their lives and generations before them, you know, it means the world to them. And I think, you know, it's quite justifiable pride too. So, yeah, it won't get carried away, the town, but it's on its way to something quite big. And when it does finish, it'll be, wow.
Yeah.
You know.
And awesome to be on that journey as it goes. Okay, so like we said, you're coming up to 20 years in December.
Yeah.
What are some of the things we've talked kind of generally about Folkestone and what comes next, but what in the short term is coming next for you guys as you head up to that big milestone?
Well, we had all sorts of amazing plans of things that we should do to mark the year, but I think we're just going to get there. I think that's what we're going to do. It's been hard work this year. You know, there's been a lot to do. There's a lot going on in town, and it's not all a question of, you know, standing there pouring a pint or, you know, serving a meal. There's always a lot of background work with any business that we do. But I think for us now, we're just looking forward to that date. It actually falls on a Wednesday, which isn't exactly party central, is it? But we'll do something. We'll be getting in touch with a lot of the people that have been part of they've put us on the journey we've been on. Yeah. Assisted us along the way. So, yeah, watch that space. You'll be invited, of course.
Awesome.
Because being an ex-employee as well, weren't you?
Yeah,
so,
definitely.
Yeah, it's a time I'm looking forward to. So
Yeah.
December's going to be really, really, bit of a tearful moment, I'm sure, because it's a big deal. You know, we could have sold it in the first couple of years without a problem and probably walked away quite happy. But what would I have done for all that time? You know, I'm really, really pleased to be lucky enough to have been part of it all. So it was, as I say, quite a naive idea at first. Come on, yeah, it'll work. But thankfully it has. You know, here we still are, and we're not going to be taking our foot off the gas. You know, we like the fact that we're part of a town and people consider us as part of the town they know. You know, they can quite happily recall time where we've always been there. So that's nice, and I can't see us moving out anytime soon. It'd be nice to be part of things as they develop and come onto a new lease of life. So.
Yeah.
Because Folkestone did fall to its knees, as every seaside town did, but no, not anymore.
Yeah.
And we're still there, so it's great.
Yeah, exciting times to come.
Yeah, really.
Chris, it's been absolutely awesome chatting.
Thank you.
If anyone doesn't know where you are, I guess both online and in physical space.
Well, we are on the corner of Sandgate Road and Cherrington Place on the main A259. It's the main route into Folkestone, really. I think 80% of driven traffic comes down the A259 into Folkestone, so that's where we are. You can't miss us. We have a coffee shop on the ground floor, and we have a bar and restaurant which is extensive in the basement. It goes a long, long way. We have a lot of different entertainment and good quality food. Burgers are very nice. I had one before I came here.
Nice. And online,
online,
what are your social handles?
We don't have a website that we operate. We've just got a holding page for our website, which is Pub Folkestone. But we found that we get far more joy from using Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. We are at the Chambers Bar. I can't think what the hashtag is for our Instagram, so I won't worry on that one at the moment. But we're pretty everywhere. Yeah, Facebook is a place. We update regularly on Facebook and have a lot of information out there to grasp hold of. So yeah, Facebook's a place to go.
Awesome.
/the Chambers it is.
Nice. Chris, thank you very much indeed.
Absolutely, pleasure.